a newspaper reporter interviewing the slaves and Portuguese sailors about the Atlantic slave trade being allowed to take a safe passage aboard the vessel, the SS Slave Taker. I have a few slaves willing to answer some of my questions that we are all curious to know about. What did the Portuguese establish on the Cape of Good Hope?
The Portuguese established factories, forts, and trading posts with the resident merchants. The forts allowed the Portuguese to have some control, but with very few personnel.
What did the Africans acquire from the Portuguese?
The Africans acquired goods and sometimes provided African rulers with slaves from other parts of the world.
And also the Portuguese received ivory, pepper, animal skins, and gold from the Africans in return.
So you're saying that the trade was the base of Portuguese relations with Africa?
Yes, exactly.
Well, thank you for your time, and we will come back to you both later on. It seems like the ship is taking a pit stop, so I will be interviewing some of the local people and asking about their opinions on the Atlantic slave trade. It looks like we have come across the African ruler, Ningza Mavib. Hello, I have some questions to ask you, if that's okay with you.
Yes, ask away.
How well do you and the Portuguese get along?
We have learned to deal with each other in the past, but now it has led me to try and end the slave trade and limit some of the Portuguese powers.
How has that worked for you?
It has its up and downs, but because Portugal has Congo's ability to communicate with the outside world.
Well, thank you for speaking to us. Back to the two slaves on the ship. How did the Portuguese treat the Africans?
They looked upon them as savages, pagans, and also good-for-nothings.
What was the Portuguese main interest?
Their main interest was in gold, pepper, and mostly our people as slaves.
When did the slaves start arriving in Portugal?
The slaves started arriving in around 1441, and at that point we became a common trade item. The Portuguese raided for more slaves up and down the coast.
Well, thank you for answering all of our questions. The slave trade has grew significantly in volume and has predominated over all other kinds of commerce on the African coast. That is all for today. Remember to tune in next week. This is Kirsten Garcia giving you the latest on the Atlantic slave trade. Goodbye. Did the Portuguese establish any forts?
They received...
The Portuguese established the